Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion. Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. Okay, welcome back. This is Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians for December 4th, 2020. Joining me is Russell and Mark. Thank you for being here, fellas. We always start with a mention of the websites down in the description of the video. Those are kind of the most definitive places to get information about unemployment in Texas. So if you're just starting, start there. So you have the most accurate stuff. That also includes our Local 433 Musicians Unemployment Information Sharing page. That's the local musicians union. Runs that, and our COVID-19 resources page, and also Who Represents Me, so you can find out who represents you in the state of Texas. We also always start off with beverages. I'm doing straight up coffee once again. What are you guys drinking today? Anything interesting?
Today, nothing.
Nothing at all. Dry?
Good old green tea.
Good old green
tea.
There you go.
Still looks brown, but it's green.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there isn't a whole lot to mention today in the news, other than I guess it's big. There's a new stimulus package in the U.S. legislature, and it's supposed to be $900 billion. I'm going to post a link from PBS NewsHour from last night, where they were interviewing some senators about it. But Mark, you were saying there's some current news from today on CNN, so we'll put that in there too. But what was the current news today? Anything?
It says it's a lengthy article about the package, and it says, what do we know so far? And it says the proposal includes $300 a week in enhanced federal unemployment benefits. There is still a debate about how retroactive this could be. So that sounds like $300 where it used to be $600 is how I'm reading that.
Yeah. And where it's currently zero.
And it's currently zero, right, yeah. And then the next thing, it says a continued pause on student loan payments, eviction moratorium, another round of money for the Paycheck Protection Program, $16 billion for vaccine development and distribution and COVID-19 testing and tracing, extension of unemployment programs that allowed gig workers to file for unemployment insurance. And then the last one is extension of the program that allows unemployed Americans to get 39 weeks instead of 26.
Well, that's
so that's mostly good news. It's a little confusing, that last thing about extension of the program that allows unemployed Americans to get 39 weeks. Does that mean they're going to extend it further than the 39 weeks, or what? I don't know quite how to read that.
Yeah, I think they had already done that for certain parts of the program. So maybe it's just all of it, or maybe
Yeah.
that goes into next year. I don't know.
Yeah. But
Well,
certainly the $300 a week in enhanced federal unemployment benefits would be a huge blessing here at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah. The
yeah,
winter is
it's on
coming.
the first page, and I was reading through while we were talking,
Hmm.
and they are purposely vague on certain topics.
Hmm.
It's not real locked down on what really the plan will be, and of course they say that if they come to agreement, they're almost certain that they'll get executive signatures.
Hmm.
That's McConnell, so
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, Trump did seem to indicate that he would sign something, but he also seemed to indicate that what he was talking about signing was the Republican version of the bill, which was half as much money.
Ah.
right.
Oh
So
wow.
we don't know. I mean, it's up in the air. I sure hope he would sign it.
Still not a lot of information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifics. Yeah. Of course, earlier in the week we heard there was some news from Mitch McConnell's desk, that he was still gonna insist on that liability waiver thing for employers,
Yeah.
which before, I mean, it wasn't just a liability waiver. I mean, it was like it gave an employer the ability to sue an employee if the employee complained about working conditions under COVID or something like that. It was like really overreaching.
Yeah.
And that was a big hang up, of course, for the Democrat side, and as well as it should be. I haven't heard anything about that towards the end of the week this week. So yeah, that's something to watch out for, though, for sure, especially for us, because that's one of the only things we have in music. Is the employer is responsible for maintaining
Yeah.
a safe working environment.
The workplace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why the vagueness is there,
Mm, you could be right.
because that's an issue that they don't want to put up front.
They don't want that to be the headline. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost certain that they'll try to put that in as a rider.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, in any case, it does seem a lot more optimistic today that there's actually going to be a bill within the next week or so than it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least according to the CNN article, it's much more likely now, and they're actually working around the clock to try to get something together. So
Yeah.
that's good news.
It is. I mean, and it seems to be. They seem to be realizing the urgency. They did get the Supreme Court appointment passed. They got the. That was the other thing earlier this week. They got the Pentagon budget passed, the defense budget, parts of it at least, right? There's part of it that's still hung up, I think, but something like $700 billion they already got to the Pentagon. So
Yeah.
you would think they could get it to working people that can get, that really demonstrably need help, especially as the weather's getting colder. Yeah. And that eviction moratorium is going to be more important as the winter drags on, because you throw people out of their houses, it's not going to be good. It's it's not going to be good for the spread of the pandemic or anything. Yeah.
Well, that's something that I'm not real clear on, because that moratorium is in effect until the rest of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not certain as to how they are doing that in Houston, where they are evicting people.
Right.
Yeah.
Here in Austin, the mayor has issued a decree that says the eviction moratorium runs to the rest of the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's happening all over the country, where either the landlord or
The
the
governor
tenant.
has a part too.
Yeah. Yeah. But the landlord or the tenant don't know about the existence of that moratorium, or how to enforce it or report it. And so folks are getting evicted anyway, where they shouldn't
Yeah.
be. Yeah. So it's a big mess. and we really need clarity from the top, you know,
Would help.
to really, you know, make sure that it's enforced and everyone knows about it, you know.
You have to be proactive, and then you have to have that paperwork to really safeguard yourself.
Yeah, yeah. But really, you know, one thing that a lot of folks don't know is you know, when you're talking about a tenant relationship, um, if you're willing to stay in that rental property, it's very difficult for them to actually get you out of there. You know, practically, if you're like, nope, I'm just going to stay right here. Um, it's pretty difficult to do, and that can give you some time to get help, and that's yeah, it's important, and it's really spooky to talk about even, but it is happening. You're right, Russell. We're hearing about it, you know, and pretty close to home here, right? Even in Houston, we're hearing, yeah, it's terrible. Goodness. Well, I guess we should move on to Mark, our little research project that we did over over the break. I didn't actually receive that notice, but a lot of people did. Right? When was that? Was right before Thanksgiving? Was it Monday before Thanksgiving when that notice came out, or was it even on Tuesday or Wednesday or something?
Let's see. It was 11/21. What? Wait, are you talking? Which notice are you talking about? The.
Yeah, yeah, the one about the extra question.
Oh, okay. Let's see
Yeah.
here. Which one? When was that?
When was that? Yeah, I mean,
Oh, it was 11/21
11/20. So that was the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
before
Yeah, there
Thanksgiving.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got the email, and then subsequently, I guess this past Sunday, I did my normal payment request, and there was no extra question on there.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Let's rewind. So
Yeah.
the notice said that there would be an extra question about. I mean, it was very vague and mysterious and panic inducing. We got a lot of calls from it at the office
Yeah.
from folks and.
Well, I can read you the pertinent
Oh, do you
paragraph
have
here.
it? Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
it says when you request payment online, you are now required to answer a new COVID-19 related question. Depending on your answer, you may be required to respond to 13 new COVID-19 related statements before you can continue and submit your payment request. So I got that on 11/21. This past Sunday, I did my payment request, and I didn't see any new COVID-19 related question.
Right. Yeah. It may not have taken effect yet.
Maybe
Um,
not. Maybe
But
not.
we
Yeah.
did but in between those times though, you and I got together over email
Yeah.
and said, hey, what is this new question? You know, I mean, it sounds pretty important, right? And um, do we want to avoid? Is the goal to avoid those extra 13 statements, or is it not to avoid? You know, what do we tell our people? You know, and people started asking questions that week. You know, to our office, of course, at the union office, and our committee and everything. So we got in touch with the state senator's office that we did, Judith Zeffirini's office. Thank you for helping us out. They were able to get additional information from the Texas Workforce Commission that I haven't seen anywhere else yet. I haven't seen on their website yet, um, but it may be there now. I don't know. Yeah. Have you seen it anywhere else, Mark?
No, I have not. The
No?
only time I saw it was what you conveyed to me from Crystal.
Okay. Well, let me see. Let me see if I can put that on the screen here. Let's see. Yeah. Oh goodness. Look at all this. Here we go. Yeah. Let's see if we can put this up there. Can we make it bigger? Oh, now you guys can't see it though, can you?
No.
Oh man. Okay. So the way to do this, for those watching at home, I'll try to present. That's what we'll do. Use the presentation feature, and then you guys can see it, and the viewers can hopefully see it.
There it is.
Yeah.
But now the viewers can't see it.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Well, here, I'll leave that there, and then I'll go back to how I was doing this before for the viewers. Okay, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so this is just, yeah, this is from the email. I just pasted this into a document so we could all see it. Um, and I thought we could just go over it. But yeah, so this is what Senator Zaffarini's office was able to get from Texas Workforce Commission. It says currently, and currently I guess means before Thanksgiving or before the 21st, pandemic unemployment assistance claimants are asked whether they are still unemployed as a direct result of the disaster, which of course this was based on the old DUA, the disaster unemployment assistance, right? So then it says the U.S. Department of Labor is requiring TWC to update the question to be specific to the CARES Act. Staff are working to implement this change. Soon customers on PUA will be asked, are you still unemployed as a direct result of the COVID-19 public health emergency? And that's rather than the disaster. So it's a little more, just more specific. Each claimant must answer yes or no. If the claimant answers yes, they are instructed to respond to the statement that best describes their current situation due to COVID-19 with a yes or a no. The claimant can respond yes to more than one statement. So what it sounds like, kind of what we were wondering about is like, is it better to avoid these questions or to answer these questions? Because nobody wants to answer more questions on the payment request, but it sounds like you probably, for musicians, you probably want to answer these questions. Is that fair to say,
Well,
fellas?
it looks to me like at the minimum you would want to answer yes to number 12.
Mm-hmm. I would
Right,
think
saying
so.
that as an independent contractor, you have been really limited in your ability to work by COVID-19. At least that's how I read number 12.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unless you can answer some of these other questions, yes, as well. Of course, then that would
Yeah.
be even better as far as qualifying. But yeah, most of the musicians that we're talking to about this are contractors. Although some of our musicians are W-2
Right.
workers, and they may not
Yeah.
see this part of it because they may not be on the PUA. They may be on standard
Mm.
unemployment assistance. So it's even split amongst amongst the musicians. So, but yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mark. The number 12 down there. I'm an independent contractor. For those of us who are independent contractors or self-employed, I think that's probably going to be true for at least the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, but number 10 also might be appropriate even for W-2 musicians, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if the symphony is shut down or
Mhm.
your gig or
Or
whatever
the
is shut
venue is
down,
shut
Yeah.
down.
you
Yeah.
know, then you
Mhm.
can't work. So
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So
It seems that number 6 is covering that.
number 6, I'm unable
Uh-huh.
to reach the place of
yeah,
employment because of quarantine or shelter in place order. Yeah. Yeah.
that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, in light of the counties that still have the bars closed. If you work in bars,
Right.
Hmm.
you can't get in there. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So several of these are relevant. Um, not that we, you know, not that we need more questions on the payment request every 2 weeks, but they're certainly they're not as dreadful as we were thinking. I think, right?
Sure.
And not as um, I don't know, not as time consuming and not as uh, difficult. I think as it
Yeah.
seemed like it was going to be, right? Because that notice was just so vague and it really kind of raised our eyebrows a little bit
It
and our
seems as
blood
if
pressure.
they're mining data, and if they're mining data to give an extended package or an increased package, that would be good and would be beneficial for us.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely seems like they could use that data for good purposes.
Just
Hopefully.
having read over, that's what it seems to me that would be sort of a point of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think
But
so
it
too.
also, just to remind people, it does say on there that you can answer yes to more than one question.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, and that's
Right.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's very important because they're
yeah. Um, it is important to union members. I don't know if you guys got the email reminder this week from our international president, but
Yeah.
if you're a musicians union member and you get COVID, uh, or or you have to quarantine because someone in your household has COVID, you I think what they're saying is you automatically qualify for the Disabled Musicians Fund,
hmm
which is called the Lester Petrillo Fund for disabled musicians. So, um, yeah, if that happens to you as a union musician, get in touch with the office right away because that fund can really help out. It's like a lot of the funds. It's not like tons and tons of money, but yeah, it could really help out. So
sure.
yeah, if you're in that situation, get a hold of us right away. Yeah. Jeez.
And that's something that would be good for. And this is, there's never a good time to say this, but that would be something good for non-union members to know that this
Hmm.
is what your union can do for you,
Absolutely.
and you may want to consider
Hmm.
being a part of this because this only benefits you
Yep. Yeah. There's
if you're
there's
here.
all kinds of benefits that yeah they it takes too long to go through all of them, and
Right.
that's one of the problems that we have. There's no really good elevator pitch for unions. Because the elevator gets there too fast. Unless maybe if you're in the Sears Tower or something, you could do it. That's a pretty long elevator ride. But yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to scare away future members when you show up with a briefcase full of stuff. They're going, oh my God, I didn't sign up for all this. Well, yes, you did, really, but
but it's all good. It's all good.
it is. It's all good. It's all
Yes.
At some point, you hope you won't need this, but if you ever do, it's there.
Yeah. 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 And of course, people that have been working in the industry for a while, I always encourage them to check out uh, the different royalty funds because a lot of people have unclaimed funds in those
Hmm.
websites. I think there's four of them now, and we've got them up on our local website under resources. Let me see where that is, because there's like four of them that people have unclaimed funds all the time if they were ever on some kind of national work or something. Um, one of them is the SAG-AFTRA fund. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, it's under unclaimed payments under resources. SAG-AFTRA fund, Sound Exchange from streaming music services,
Mhm.
the Sound Recording Special Payments Fund, and the Film Musician Secondary Markets Fund. That's if your music was ever in a film and it went foreign, it went to other foreign markets. There can be money laying around for you, and the only reason that happens is because the union is negotiating those agreements, on an ongoing basis. Um, yeah, we also had a big victory this past month with streaming video services. There's
Yes.
finally a residual now, at least for advertiser supported streaming video services like YouTube and Hulu and things like that. There's finally a residual for those musicians, whereas before there was none. So we're improving that situation slowly, but that took 4 years to get. And so yeah, we need the support of all the musicians, but we can talk about that for hours. um, what can we actually do about all this? We've been mentioning the letter writing campaigns. So I'm gonna put links to the AFM letter writing campaign that's called "Tell the Senate to Get to Work." That's been around for several months now,
hmm
but it's really easy to do if you haven't already done it. Check it out. You put your name and address in there, and it brings up a sample letter to send to your senator. That's already addressed. It figures out. You put your address in there. It figures out who your senator is automatically.
Hmm.
And it puts a sample letter up, but you can edit it. You can edit it to say whatever you want, or you can just leave it like it is and hit a button and it sends it right away. There's a similar thing from the AFL-CIO called Pass the Heroes Act. That's also been around for a while, but it's still working. If you haven't done it, do it. If you have done it, do it again. Uh, and of course, we've been talking about the U.S. Senate really is the stumbling block for a lot of this stuff. So
Right.
I'm going to put the contact contact pages for our two U.S. senators from Texas. John Cornyn and Ted Cruz. They have very easy to use contact pages on their websites where you can send them a letter or an email very quickly about this. And the more specific you can be, the better about your situation. A lot of these folks in government, they love to hear from artists. They love to hear from musicians because we're interesting people. That we can't help it, right? So, tell them about yourself. Tell them about what you're doing. What you're struggling with, and that the unemployment assistance matters to you, because our work is not going to come back like it was for a long time.
Oh, wow. Plus,
yeah.
a good writer to what you were saying is you're more likely to have a senator read your letter if it's more personalized and it doesn't appear to be a bot.
Absolutely.
That they can just hit delete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't look just like those other letters. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, and of course, it's not always the senator reading those letters. A lot of times,
That's true. Yeah,
it's their
right.
aides.
Staff.
So if it's something different, it's more likely to make it through the chain of command. So. Yeah, and our letters as musicians, as entertainers, tend to break through that a little more easily because they're different, So, so each one of us can really make a difference in that way, right from our houses. I'd really encourage everybody to do that, and we have been encouraging everybody to do that. So, yeah, cool. All right. Well, are there any other issues or items we should bring up before we sign off, fellas?
Just one quick thing. I also got another wonderful puzzling email from TWC.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, this was about work search requirements.
Oh, yeah.
And let me see if I can pull that up here. It said, beginning December 13th, you must look for work each week and complete at least 0 work search activities each week.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard from several other union members that got that same email. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it threw me for a moment because I didn't read the 0, and I thought, oh my God, here I go. I'm gonna have to, and then I read the 0, and so of course I didn't do any work search stuff when I did my last payment request, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a nice another little raise in the blood pressure there. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, and I heard from several other musicians in exactly the same position, Mark, where they didn't quite read down to where the 0 was,
Yeah.
and then they did. Oh, okay, thank goodness. And
but I mean, basically, it's good news, which is that if you are in the union, you're excluded from that requirement.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that seems to be continuing. Yeah, that seems to be continuing on.
Do you know, Mark? Have you seen that little reminder message on the confirmation page?
No, I didn't need to do that because it went through, right? And so I figured if the payment request went through, then.
Oh no, it's at the bottom of the confirmation page of the payment request.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
that one that we let me pull it up here. Oh yeah, but you know what? You're not gonna be able to see it. But
yeah, right.
But it says you may make your next payment request on this date. You're required to report to your union's hiring hall and abide by the union rules. If your union status changes, you must notify us. We showed that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Does that appear on your confirmation page or not yet? Do you remember?
I don't know that I saw that actually. Okay. It doesn't show up on my claim and payment status page.
No, it doesn't show up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, the one that they encourage you to print out, it's not there, of course. It's only on the confirmation page before that, which you can only see while you're doing your
your
request.
payment request.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't make it easy. But yeah, but that's one way you can confirm that that's working. But yeah, like we've been talking about though, of course, the work search requirements, for a musician who's a private contractor or self-employed, they're pretty easy to fulfill. The main thing is that you have to keep track of them every week. You have to keep a log, and you can do that on the TWC website, and you can do it. You can do if you use that Work in Texas site, that automatically keeps track of it. But of course, then you're applying for jobs that probably aren't in music. But
Yeah.
but if you want to stay in music, which I think we all should, yeah, just the basic networking things that we already do. Something you would take another musician out to lunch to do before the pandemic, and write it off on your taxes.
Sure.
All those things count, for work search requirements. You keeping in touch with your bandmates, maybe working on contracts or researching contracts, or you're updating any social media, any web page, any kind of advertising, getting new business cards, uh, working on the artwork for your album, that kind of thing, all that stuff. Uh, it all counts. It's very easy to find something that will count. You just have to keep track of it each week so that when they ask you, you have something to say, and that's all it requires, really. So the more important thing is that you keep track of it each week. It's um, not really like what it actually is. So anyway, yeah, we've been talking about that for quite a while too, and that of course is a source of anxiety and stress for a lot of musicians right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, gosh, any other things? We talked about the rent relief locally 2 weeks ago, I think. So, yeah, if you have unpaid rent for any months this year, you can still apply for that till the end of December for the city
And
of Austin.
there is quite a bit of money left that they need to use.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So this is the time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of folks are saying, "Oh, well, what's the big deal? It's just my December rent," but they're not realizing that there are some people who haven't paid rent since May, and are trying to figure out how that's going to work.
Right.
If you're in that situation, there's help there, and that way you're not spending your shrinking unemployment benefits on rent. The benefits that have already shrunk. So there's help out there for that. There's we have an excellent food bank in this town. Several excellent food banks around the county and the surrounding counties. You can get help with food. There's so then you're not spending the diminishing benefits on that. And so there's a lot of different help out there, and it is applying for it can be stressful, but you need to do it because I really think America needs us to come back as musicians to the profession, and the whole world really needs American music, and so we got to do this. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, did you guys have any other issues to bring up? Any other news articles this week?
Well, something that is, I'll say this quickly. It's
Please.
kind of comical, but not really. Is the amount of politicians that have been caught traveling,
Yeah.
Including our fearless
including-
mayor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny, but it's not really. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing how that has transpired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the mayor of Denver and the mayor of Kansas City as well, and yeah.
Oh, there's quite a few of them.
Yeah. 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 It's,
Well,
It
wasn't it
didn't look
the
good.
governor of California too? Wasn't
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we really need leadership on that whole thing. All the wearing the masks, the social distancing, the not traveling, especially for Christmas. I mean, it's going to hurt even more not being able to see family for Christmas, but
it? Yeah.
they're there's really no good way to do it unless you already live with them, you know. And,
Right.
yeah, we need solid leadership on that. And we don't seem to be getting it yet, but there's still time to improve before Christmas, hopefully, right? So, yeah, yikes.
Well, I just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, yeah. If we're talking about the news, yeah, that's oh man. But all right, well, if you're watching this and you're in the music business, don't give up. We need to come back from this, and we will by sharing information in solidarity. If you're not a union member yet, now's a great time to join. And if you are in the union and you need help, contact the office. We got a lot of stuff going on to help out members right now. So yeah, let's get through this, and we will see you next week. Thank you, Russell and Mark, for joining me. And,
Yep, hang in there.
take care, everybody.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye bye.